Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the July 20th, 2020 new moon in Cancer transit part 2 of 2. Now, as far as this transit goes, it's very important, significant as far as looking at the electional aspects it makes, because of course that could impact that could affect its impact to some degree. Now, the fact is, it's going to be making a number of adverse aspects. It's going to be opposing Saturn. It's going to make an opposition to Pluto and Jupiter. Some of you may have heard about that. There's some kind of strive. It's some kind of strive for Black lives, and it's done in support of George Floyd. People are going to be walking out of their, some people are going to be walking out of their workplaces for like 8 minutes, because that supposedly corresponds with the approximate time that the policeman had his knee pressed on George Floyd's neck. So it's in honor of that. It's also has something to do with fighting for better safety measures and some other things, something about health care issues. So, but you're going to have the opposition to Saturn in Capricorn, which could be adversarial. Um, this may go, I mean, since it's only 8 minutes, I mean, it may go smoothly, but it doesn't mean you're not going to have authority figures to some degree oppose this. And Saturn can be about authority figures, and Capricorn energy, sadly, could be very cold, callous, and undemonstrative. You're also going to have it making an opposition to Pluto at this time. And Pluto, of course, can be, Pluto in Capricorn, this is about power, could be powerful government figures can be opposing this as well. And you're going to have this opposing Jupiter in Capricorn. And Jupiter can be about publishing. It could be about a number of people that are publishing this that might think, well, this is not good, and they're opposed to this for whatever reason. So anyway, but another thing is I wanted to talk about the degree that it's in. Now, as far as Sabians, okay, this is going to be, this new moon in Cancer, it's going to fall at 28 degrees. Now, as far as Sabian symbols go, 28 degrees Cancer, well, this could actually be, it could have some positive in it, because it can show perhaps a start of something where one could be expressing their versatility, very multifaceted energy. It could be, but one has to be careful though. I mean, starting manifold things at one time can sometimes indicate some kind of dissipation through lack of an integrating purpose. I think a lot of this interpretation for this has to do with the fact that Cancer at 28 degrees, of course, is in the Gemini Dwad, so it has a little bit of that Gemini energy in it. Now, at the same time, this energy, so it could be people might be starting on a lot of different things that are home related. It could be something with dexterity. It requires a lot of dexterity that involves like carpentry or what have you. It could be doing something also, well, what I want to say is, on the negative side, it's imperative that one is cognizant of who they're getting involved in at this time, because the thing about it is, this could also be a degree where others may be working to a person's detriment, and they could run into some opposition in terms of what they're trying to accomplish as far as this new moon energy goes. Now, another thing too is that we have to keep in mind, okay, other electional transits can be intensified as well at this time, since they are taking place at the same time as the new moon in Cancer. Now, this is something, one thing that stood out to me is that you're going to have Mercury in Cancer making a square to Mars in Aries at this time. This could be really, this could be about really contentious, acrimonious communications. This could be this could really emphasize a lot of presumptuous type thinking, jumping the gun, jumping to conclusions on things. You're talking about Mercury in Cancer, where one could be very verbally defensive, and the fact that it's squaring Mars and Aries, it could be due to really becoming rather defensive and over perhaps very aggressive, impulsive actions. It could be something just somebody walking into someone and inadvertently, and somebody takes it like it was some kind of slight, or it was some subtle meaning to it. There was more to it than it actually was. Remember that the fact that you have Mercury in Cancer at this time, Cancerian energy could be about understanding, comprehending the subtle ways that people communicate. But at this time, this could be a little overthinking. I think it might manifest in, and it could be something where somebody thinks, well, somebody just makes quick, impulsive, aggressive action that it had to be directed at them for whatever reason, and maybe it really wasn't. People can just be in a hurry. It could be a situation where you have a car, somebody cutting off somebody, and somebody takes it, to heart more so than usual. I know these things can happen at any time, regardless of astrological transits, but it might be more intensified, and you might have stronger responses to this kind of energy on average at this time, since it is taking place at the time of a new moon. Now, another thing too that people have to remember, now other transits to your natal chart can be intensified at this time because they are taking place at the time of the new moon. Now in my case, I'm going to have transit Neptune making a trine to my natal Mars in Cancer, at least a week, a loose trine to it. And my Mars in Cancer is in my third house in my natal chart, and I talked in the previous new moon video, the new moon in Cancer part 1 video, about a short journey I may be embarking on, or at least I'm planning on. I'm going to formulate the plan for that as far as something home related, because that new moon in Cancer is going to fall in my third house of short journeys. But I have Mars in Cancer natally in my third house of short journeys. The fact that transit Neptune is going to at least make at least a loose trine to it could give inspiration and hope, perhaps an idealism to perhaps energy that Mars in Cancer in the third house, that energy perhaps to do something, to take a home related short journey. And I think that could be very positive and auspicious for me, actually. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed on that. Now, another thing too is that we have to what you look at is contra indicators that could be factored into this. Now, when you have a new moon energy, it could really be a time where people are very revitalized, rejuvenated. They have an abundance of energy. They want to start something. You have this, even though Cancer is not known to have the zodiac sign Cancer is not exactly known to have a certified of energy. The fact that it's in a cardinal sign makes it good. It's action oriented, and of course, the new moon in Cancer, it's in its dignity. I mean, Cancer is in its dignity when the moon is in its dignity in Cancer, so it actually can be very good placement. But the thing about it is, let's say you have some indicators, some transits in your chart which might be like energy depleters. Like, let's say, for example, you have the transit Sun or Mars in your 12th house, or if that could be where the vitality may be lacking, or might be some limitations in energy and vitality at this time. And you also, another example could be, let's say, transit Neptune is making an adverse aspect to your natal Sun, Mars, or ascendant. You might be a little bit more lethargic at this time. You might feel more like fantasizing or just kind of daydreaming, as opposed to actually taking action on something. So you have to factor in these things as well. And another one example I wanted to give, another example as far as if it's in the let's say if this falls in your 5th house in your natal chart, this could be a time where some people may start some new Cancerian sports, such as like swimming or something with water rafting or surfing. It could be a new Cancerian love. It could be, in some cases, with a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Cancerian characteristics. It could be a new Cancerian hobby, something like collecting nostalgia. It could be collecting comic books, or doing some kind of coin collecting, or family memorabilia. It might be a time where one might embark on a new home investment. In some cases, you might have some people welcoming in a new child in their in their family at this time. And of course, the fact that it would be born at the time of the new moon, it would be a Cancer, Sun, and Moon person. And one last thing I want to say is that I think a lot of some of this. Hold on a moment, people. I think the fact that you're talking about the new moon in Cancer, and what's going to happen is you will have the new moon in Cancer at 28 degrees. Then you'll have you're going to have a full moon in Aquarius in August. So some of you may wonder, well, how can that manifest and pan out? How is it going to start with the new moon in Cancer, and then what happens when it culminates with the full moon in Aquarius? Well, that'll be a good question. Well, the new moon in Cancer can signify a new period of some kind of safety and security for others. And the fact that you have the full moon in Aquarius coming up in August, and during this roughly 2-week period, it could start out again with initiating something for safety and security. It could end with something Aquarius related, something that might be like an electronic or computer alarm system. That could be one way that it could manifest. As an example, it could be a new period of protection, and it could end with some kind of Aquarius. I mean, it could be about maybe completing a friendship, or when I say complete a friendship, have some kind of friendship finally, or reach a point with somebody where somebody actually is your friend, and that's established, and that could be a person that could actually be protected, or it could be again going back to something electronic computer related. That could be a form of protection for you. So those are some ways I could see how this could manifest and pan out, people. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.